Who are you? You know, do you know who you are? What are your products and services? It amazes me that people still cannot articulate what are their products and services. How do you serve others? To help determine, put those things in writing. Don't fly by the seat of your pants. You need to know that. So some of you may have a business plan that outlines this. Some of you may have a memorandum of understanding of what your business services may be. They may be in a brochure, or again, it may just be jotted down on a note or a napkin on your desk or a note on your refrigerator. But you need to spend some time outlining those services or products or special skills and those attributes that you bring, and they will help you determine the centerpiece of your branding strategy. So you've got to know who you are. I can easily articulate that I work with organizations around leadership issues and teams. And through that, I'm doing HR policies and procedures. I am doing diversity and equity inclusion. I'm doing talent acquisition. I can roll that off but in my sleep if necessary, because those are the things that I do. And I know that that's my value proposition that I offer. And then you ever wonder what others think about you? When you think about your value proposition, then you need to simply ask, do you hear things like, well, they're very dependable, or they're sharp, or they're knowledgeable, or they're credible? I do very little marketing for my business. 95% of the business that I get comes from referral. Someone who knows me and said, I did business with Melva and this is what I got. So I get that all the time. But you need to make sure to ask around, what are people saying about you? And could it be something that they may say that they're kind of different, or they're challenging, or no words at all, or crickets? That may tell you something about your value proposition, which relates to your brand. So what you hear is probably your brand, whether you like it or not. Remember early on, I said that you've got a brand, whether you cultivated that or not. And then now is the time to make sure that you're putting out the right messages about who you are and how you serve others. So let's look at a few other things about your brand. One of the things I think helps strengthen your brand is a little versatility. Now, I know I've mentioned to you that I'm known for X, Y, and Z, but I can also think of other people who are known for one or two other great things. Or if you think about Oprah Winfrey, you know, she was known as a talk show host. And then we found out with her, I think The Color Purple was her first acting role, that she could actually act. And then we also learned that she was a huge philanthropist. And so there are a number of ways that we can be a little bit different in how we present ourselves, and a little versatility around our brand is not bad. So to be competitive in today's market, you must be versatile without getting too far outside of your professional lane. And that's why when I tell people, when they ask what I do, I say I work with organizations and teams, but I don't sell cars. I don't take no blood pressure. You're not gonna get me trying to take your pictures or do any of that. I stay within my lane. But I also know that people don't like a one-dimensional person. So maybe your brain surgeon, you want to be one-dimensional and stick with, you know, being a brain surgeon, but you may be okay with your dentist, you know, playing in a band on the weekends. And that's so important when we think about the image that we put off through social media, because again, part of people knowing you, and we've always heard that people do business with people that they like and that they know. For people to really get to know you, there are times when you have to show a more personal side of who you are. And that can get a little bit tricky, so that you're not blending your brand on social media where it confuses people with who you are. So when you're trying to expand, think about special projects. Is there something that I can do with a new client, or a system conversion, or some type of an event? Is it committee roles? As Misty mentioned, I serve on the board. I've served on the board of directors and have learned to be a great board member and a great board leader. So people know me in the community as that, as well as being in the areas of organizational leadership. So again, that has really helped me strengthen my brand on the professional side, because that was a personal act. But I also can think of people like Kim Richardson, who's a grants guru. But Kim also is a yoga instructor. And certainly over COVID, she got some certifications in yoga. I saw her post the other day that she was teaching school children yoga, but that doesn't take away from the fact that she also posted the day before about a company getting $1 million grant that she helped write. And then she also has a travel Facebook page. So we know she's a world traveler. We know that she's a yoga instructor, but it doesn't take away from the fact that she's an excellent, excellent grant writer. So you can show a little bit versatility. Here's the other thing I want you to think about, and that is your image. So tell me and be honest with yourself, how confident are you with your personal image on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 being, don't put the camera in front of me, don't take my picture, don't post my picture. A 10 being, I know I'm all that and some. So what is your personal image level on a scale from 1 to 10? Because this is going to be pretty critical as you sell yourself. You need to be on brand at all times, and your appearance does matter. Solid brands ensure that everything that surrounds it is in sync with their brand and their message, with their image. So what about your personal image? If a peer was to ask to describe you on a hidden camera, would the description be flattering? Just think to yourself. It shouldn't be, but we're in a society that is focused on image. So if your image screams, you need an extreme makeover, then you probably need an upgrade. So I've told clients that I've worked with through executive coaching and career coaching for leaders who are trying to level up to that next position in leadership, that they may need to do some things that they hadn't thought about to make sure they not only have the skill sets to do the part, but they look the part as well. So you may have to cut and color your hair, whiten your teeth, or get a manicure, or a new pair of stylish eyeglasses that's gonna really set you apart. You may need to update your wardrobe. You know, I can remember my dad passed away and we were cleaning out his closet and he had stuff in there, y'all, I know he had worn about 30 years ago because we had pictures of him in that same outfit. It was still there. But look, if your closet, if 50% of your closet is filled with clothing and shoes that are more than 5 years old and that's under a $50 value, it's time to go shopping. So you may want to start one piece at a time, removing certain items out of your wardrobe that may be outdated or give you an outdated look, and then adding new things. So some basic things like black and white always goes well. When you're building your wardrobe, don't neglect to add a splash of color. Some of the image experts can tell you what colors work best for you. As Misty or someone else mentioned, you know, my colors are brights like yellows or reds or blues that really show up well on my darker skin. And then accessories will make any outfit pop. So you've got to put in some work when it comes to how you look and the way that you show up, because it is memorable. People will remember you, especially if you're not too far outside of the box. I've heard people talk about or give a recommendation to me for me and say, oh yeah, she's always the snazzy, just dressed speaker or something along that lines. But look, we'll also remember that blue hair you have if it's not showing up in a positive way. So you don't want to be too far outside of the box to make it memorable, but you do want to make an impact. And I say blue hair here, but hey, if blue is your brand and you're in the arts industry and you could do that, that's fine. Boz is on here, Antonio Boswell with Boswell Media. He does, I think, a monthly photo shoot with a boutique owner, and she has pink hair, but that's part of her brand. And that pink hair is laid all the time. So just make sure it ties in well with your brand. Fair or not, we stereotype people based on their appearance. And studies have shown the better looking you are, the better put together you are, the more points you get for success and the more people will take you seriously for who you are. So do put in a little time in your with your image and the way that you look in person. And so headshots are so important, particularly when you're talking about your image over social media. When was the last time you had a good headshot? So drop that in there for me. If it's been within a year, put within a year. If you never, put never, because them selfies that you take with your iPhone or your Android are not professional headshots. I'm here to tell you. So you need good headshots. And I can, I'm sure that when we do Q&A toward the end, Boswell will tell us about his recommendations, but I usually take headshots at least once a year. So these were some of the last shots that we took. We took a variety of outfits. This is not all of them because I think we had 2 or 3 more outfits on it, but I use them for a variety of proposals, Facebook posts. I actually used the one on the far left for my birthday. So the headshots go a long way in presenting your image to others. Don't I look cute, y'all? Thanks. All right, the other part of not only having a great image is having a great story. What is your story? How can you articulate your story? Everybody has a story, but can you really articulate that as part of your infomercial, as part of how you introduce yourself and tell other people about who you are and how you serve? So just like your favorite commercial jingle, you know, your story should easily flow off your tongue, kind of like that conjunction junction. What's your function? I'm glad I can't sing, y'all, because I would be singing all day. But it needs to roll off so people can remember it. That's the whole purpose. So your story should highlight your value proposition. We talked about that earlier. You need to know it to be able to sell yourself. So rehearsing it and practicing over and over again for those who are not used to introducing themselves in a professional way goes a long way. You may want to videotape yourself to watch your mannerisms, to watch and watch for inflections in your voice and your tone. If you can't get it right on your own, take a class. There are plenty of classes out there that teach people about public speaking and how to present themselves. I do a separate course as part of my coaching program to make sure people feel confident and stand the right way, watch their nonverbal signs and skills, and presenting themselves is so important. Or either join an organization that's dedicated to public speaking. I can remember for the Birmingham Black Chamber of Commerce, we had an initiative where we were not only bringing in speakers from the outside, but encouraging our own members to speak on their platform, to give them an opportunity to experience public speaking. So you don't feel that you have to jump right into something big where there's going to be a lot of eyes on you that can be quite intimidating, but start sharing your story. Mine will sound something like this. Hello, I'm Melva Tate. I'm often called the HR fixer or a workplace guru. I help organizations cultivate their employees to move their mission forward. I also help individuals determine their purpose and develop their careers. I speak with an authentic voice about life, career, and businesses. I coach, I consult, and I speak to motivate and inspire change. So your infomercial should sound something like that. Not long, not drawn out, but something that's easy to say. And so those of you who grew up like I did, who had an Easter speech or a Sunday or Christmas speech, use those same techniques as those mothers in the church taught us in learning our lines to share our story. So we all have a story. I talked about my story and my theme being a coach and a consultant and how I activate and inspire people. So what would be the theme of your story? If you had, again, one word, not long, or you could have a sentence, what is the theme of your story? How are you introducing yourself? What is the title of your infomercial? Because we all need one to be able to extend our brand and articulate our brand. So knowing how to create your story. The next thing I want to talk about in developing our brand is the art of networking. And I want you to keep in mind, I don't want you to simply think about networking. I want you to net weave. And net weaving is a little bit different than networking because you're actually doing a lot more to put in the work. So work at building relationships, not just meeting people and collecting business cards. Most people think that that's what networking is all about. Let me go to this event or this place. I'm gonna collect some business cards. I may reach back out to them. I may not, but I'm going, hey, this is my name. Give me your card. And then you move on to the next person. It's not that. You need to offer an even exchange, the Witham effect. What's in it for me? And so that's why it's important to start building rapport with people and identifying what you may have in common. You may see someone wearing red, and I always say, oh, you're wearing my favorite color. My favorite color is red. That is a way to kick off a conversation. And then the more that I know and can hear from them, remember, listening is important, then you'll have something to offer them, whether that's a connection, an opportunity, an article that you read, something, give something back. And then you need to leverage your network to build and strengthen your brand. And I'll talk to you about how do you build brand ambassadors, unpaid brand ambassadors that can help share who you are and your talents. A well-nurtured professional network is priceless. As I mentioned before, I do very little marketing Most of the referrals I get or business opportunities I get come directly from referrals. And your active network will extend your brand for you. That means once you put in that work and let people know who you are, they're easily able to tell other people who you are and how to connect with you. So your network will also require you to stay up on your game. Don't think this is a one and done situation. So you need to never stop learning. I applaud all of you who took time out from your busy schedule today to attend this webinar, because I am sure you're going to find one or two knowledge nuggets that's going to help you along the way. And then at the end of this, I'm also going to share an email address so that you can download an ebook of professional branding with a number of these tips in here, as well as these summary of these slides and a sample of the DISC report so that you can look into it to see if that's something that can benefit you. But never stop learning. And then offer yourself as a subject matter expert, whether that's serving on a panel or speaking at a professional meeting. There are a lot of chambers and associations who have meetings every month who are looking for speakers. They may not be paid. They may give you an honorarium, small gift card, or make a donation to your favorite charity. But that's a way that you can start getting your brand out there. And then gain certification in your field. As Misty mentioned, I'm certified in human resource management. I'm a certified life coach. Those certifications can go a long way in addition to whatever formal education that you've had as well. And then you also want to examine your current resources. You already know someone that is well connected. Think about all of their friends and their neighbors. So you want to expand that. Talk to them about who you are. Think about all the places that you go that you can tap into that are part of your network. The key to effectively networking is to be consistent and persistent. Consistency goes a long way, and being persistent goes a long way. A little each day matters. So it's not an on and off switch. It is something that you do as a normal process. I mentioned professional organizations before, but that is one of the great ways to help extend your network and your brand by joining relevant local and national organizations. So whether you're a designer, artist, a plumber, a speaker, a teacher, whomever, there is a professional organization out there that caters to your needs, that provides opportunities for continuing education, provides opportunities to connect with other like-minded people. Become a part of them. I'm a part of the Birmingham Society of Human Resource Management because that's where the HR people are, and that's where they sit. And if I need to share with a group of like-minded people, that's where I know I can go. So I served as on the board of directors with them, served as a past president, as well as a past president for the Women's Network. So if you're a woman and you're a leader in business in our community, certainly being a part of the Women's Network is an organization that you may want to consider, because they will help expand your network as well. And then you want to follow up religiously. You don't want your network to die on a vine. I found this quite interesting for people who are looking for new opportunities, whether you've got a big client that you just lost and you need to source other clients, or for those who are looking for a job, they'll tap into people when they need something, but they don't continue the dialogue or the relationship. So you don't want your network to die on a vine because you're not feeding them, staying in touch with them, checking in with them, and reciprocating that with them. What's in it for me to be a part of your network? The other thing is to focus on quality versus on quantity. Remember I said about passing out those business cards? You don't want to do that. You want to be well prepared to know exactly who you want to talk to at that meeting, or an idea of how many people that you can talk to in an allocated time that's allowed. Again, you don't want these 30-second, hey, nice to meet you, here's my business card, and move on. You really want to use those opportunities to learn more about people. And I cannot fail to mention that social media is a huge way to network. We'll talk more about that when I talk about your identity. But LinkedIn is a great way to connect. If you're not on LinkedIn as a professional, get on LinkedIn now. I've received a lot of job opportunities, contract opportunities from people just pulling me up on LinkedIn. So that's the professional network that we go to. It is almost like your resume or bio being online for others to see. So you want to utilize social media to make your presence known, but you have to stay connected with those social media contacts as well. And then of course, I said be persistent, but you've got to be proactive. And one of the things that when we talked about being proactive, is you just can't stand in the middle of a crowd and network and not, expect everybody to come to you. Again, if you're more of an introvert and you struggle with making connections and starting conversations with people, start with smaller topics or join a conversation that's already happening that someone can let you piggyback and make a couple of comments on. And before you know it, you're well on your way to having some very deep discussions with people that you can build some relationships with. And the other thing to do is to learn to ask open-ended questions. Instead of those yes or no, this is a good technique to use. One of the things that I've done is just prepared 3 or 4 questions that I wanted to ask people that were in a networking group of like-minded people. So if it was an after-hours networking group for people in technology, then I would ask, okay, well, what is the newest thing out here, or some other type of questions to probe some discussions and find out more of what I didn't already know. So finding a way to ask open-ended questions to build that rapport and those conversations along the way. And connect others together. I talked about being a connector. A great way to be a net weaver and not just a networker is to help connect other people with others. So you may be at a networking event and someone mentions, hey, I'm looking for a financial planner. You go, oh, I know someone. Isaac is right over there. He's a great guy that's a financial planner. Let me introduce you to him. So that's a way to make sure that you're looking out for others by building those connections. So networking can be an effective way to begin the process of building those strong relationships that help build your brand. So you want to ensure that you're also doing all that you can to network with others in any opportunity that presents itself. It could be at church, it could be at the park or a ball game. There are formal networking events, and then there are informal opportunities to be able to network. You want to maximize all of those. All right, let's talk about being a brand ambassador. Brand ambassador, I just talked about how do you get other people to help spread the word about you in building your brand. Join groups. Groups go a long way, not just professional organizations, but it could be a book club that you're a part of, or a group that meets to walk every morning. Taking a class goes a long way. Again, you can meet new people in a class. I can remember when I was planning to run a half marathon, let me correct that, a half marathon, and I took a class in training. Those people that I met 5 years ago are still dear friends now. And I talk to some of them often. It was a group of 5 of us that were in our intermediate group, and we still connect with one another to this day. And then don't be afraid to ask for leads. You let your friends and acquaintances know that you want to be introduced to other people, and they can certainly help you all along the way. LinkedIn has a great way to do that if you're using a social media platform. Another way to do that is to volunteer your time. I can't tell you enough about how service is so important, but that's a great way. Again, most of the work that I've done have come from people that I've served on boards with. So doing that, looking back on people that you've had in your past that you've not connected with and you want to reconnect with. And then don't be afraid to leave the house. Now, I know COVID has messed it up for all of us, but it's still, if you can find a safe way to do it, to invite somebody for coffee or come out occasionally, if you're not afraid of the Omicron virus getting all of us, which is the reason why we couldn't meet in person today. I hate that. But you've got to, hopefully we'll get back to normal soon, and being able to leave the house and connect with other people is a great way to do that as well. But your brand ambassadors will help strengthen and grow your brand. So don't be afraid to share yourself. It will require you to be a little bit vulnerable in the beginning. It may feel a little scary, but it's certainly worth it. So for you to express your authentic self, including your personal strength and the areas that you're still working on, don't be afraid to do that. I just told you one of my weaknesses is being impatient. If I'm scheduled to meet with you for coffee at 11 and it's 10:59, I'm expecting you to walk through that door because I'm going to be gone by 11:05. So, all right, here's another thing that I want you to think about, and that is tools in your toolbox. What do you need? You need to invest in professional marketing tools to enhance your brand. So you should have a detailed bio, professional profile, business cards, postcards, other marketing material to showcase your brand and your products. You have to have those things. We're in a visual society. We need to see what that looks like. So whether that is on paper or in some other type of presentation or leave behinds that you can give to people, it needs to look professional and it needs to be all tied together. Remember, your brand is an extension of who you are. So you want to make sure your tools are in harmony and stamped with your consistent message and your image. If your strategy is to be the best public relations guru in the area, everything about your brand and marketing should scream public relations. So again, we talk about you can have some versatility in who you are, but your brand and the way that you present yourself as a professional should not be blended. You should have your business card saying that I'm a hairstylist and I love to travel and I got a travel website and I'm doing X, Y, and Z. It becomes too confusing for people. And then your identity. Your identity is highly important. So you need to manage your identity, particularly your online identity. I talked about your appearance in person, but your online identity is just as important. So when was the last time you Googled your name? If anybody on here has Googled their name recently, go ahead and put that in the chat box. So most experts feel that if you don't show up in Google, particularly on the first page or second page, you don't exist. Most prospective clients will Google you. I'm telling you, I've had so many people say, I Googled you and found out, and lucky enough for me, I've got a very common name. Justina, you got a very uncommon name. Justina, yours is, Boz, yours is. A couple other people on here have very unique names that will easily surface. But if your name is Karen Smith or Jim White, you may have a struggle. So you're going to have to try a little bit harder. But making sure that you're using Google and LinkedIn and Facebook to make sure that you can stand out from your competition and those who may have a common name is highly important. And also, I want to encourage you to register your name as a domain name. So I've got, I use Melva Tate as the default, although my company name is Tate and Associates. You could just go to melvatate.com and it's going to take you directly to my business site. So if you have not already secured your domain name your name as a domain name, go ahead and do that today. Look, you may blow up and be extremely famous tomorrow. Somebody may get your name and want to sell it back to you for $50,000. So you don't want to mess that up. Also, your email address. I can't believe we're still sharing this in today's time, but you definitely need a professional email address. And even if you're using another server like Yahoo or Gmail, you definitely want it to have your name and not some other nickname like Big John Biker Boy at AOL.com. Because again, if you're doing business with people, they're going to look at, do you look professional in all areas of how you market your business? So your online brand is in most cases more important than your in-person brand, because more people can be exposed to your online brand than how you show up in person. One of the huge benefits that I've had in extending my brand and being able to sell myself is by paying it forward. That has reaped a lot of benefits. So before I mentioned about volunteering being so important, I truly believe this Shirley Chisholm quote, or the quote that has been attributed to her, that simply says, service is the rent you pay for room on this earth. Are you serving others? All of us have the capacity to serve others in some kind of way. So I'm going to encourage you to pay it forward by joining one of those professional associations, and not only joining, but becoming active. When we talk about how have I had success in building my brand and selling myself, is because I paid it forward first. So this is one of the easiest ways to gain interest into the inner circle. One of the jobs that I just completed and wrapped up the executive search for the Joseph S. Bruno Charitable Foundation's executive director. The long-term director decided to retire after 26 years of service, and they needed a search consultant to work with them. Then someone in the women's network that I was a part of said, hey, I know that Melva does executive searches. Why don't you call her? Well, Joseph F. Bruno's grandson called me and said, hey, I'd like for you to work with us in doing this search. Well, I didn't know any of the Bruno siblings or the family, but that gave me an opportunity to learn more about that family, because it was a family foundation. And I know that that's a relationship that will continue well beyond us executing that search. So that's a part of that inner circle. And then they turned around and gave my name to someone else. So find unique ways to offer your services at little or no cost to gain exposure. I never say do things for free. I always say find an opportunity to do things fee waived, Because if you get known as the free coach or the free photographer or the free makeup artist or the free speaker, then everybody's going to expect you to do it for free. But if you can find a way to do it fee waived for certain organizations or people that you really want to be introduced to or make an impact on, that goes a long way. And it certainly paid forward in dividends for me. The other thing I want to share with you before we get into some ins and outs is hire an expert. Now, I'm not trying to sell myself, but if you can't get it right, invest in an expert. So I've talked to you about, taking good headshots and having a good visual image. I can't do that at home, although I've got a really nice camera and I've got a nice light rings and everything else, but I invest in a good photographer because I want professional results. So there are several reputable consultants and coaches that are out there that can help you in any area that you need. Gift yourself, GIFT, gift yourself professional expertise to help you along the way. So ask your peers for recommendations and then do your research and know what you can expect from them. Paying our money to someone to help us along this journey is a difficult decision, but it's so necessary. And if I could tell you all about the number of people who are on my team, I'm a professional life coach, but I have a life coach that I meet with quarterly that I pay an annual retainer to because I need their expertise. And so if you think about great people in their industry, like a Tiger Woods having a golfing coach, even though he's at the pinnacle of his game, or Serena Williams or other people who are at the pinnacle of what they do, but they still have coaches that work with them because they realize the value in paying others to help them be even better than what they are. So don't be afraid to get an expert. So in selling yourself, you've got to think about all of these things. So it's so many facets, as the illustration I showed you before, on how you need to look at your authenticity and your credibility and your visual image and everything else in selling yourself. But there is an art to self-promotion. And that's what we're talking about in selling yourself. There is an art to do that. There's a time and a place for everything. So it's important to understand when the time is appropriate for those things that you set out to do in your life. The same can be said in knowing when to self-promote. Now, some people, and I know some of y'all are shaking your head right now, thinking about people who over self-promote, because it's all about them. They're all they're doing is talking about themselves and never giving back anything of value. If you know somebody like that, put yes in the comment box for me, because we know a lot of people who are all about self-promotion. But when we talk about selling yourself, we're talking about selling your strengths and some abilities to whomever will listen. But certainly there are times when painting a perfect picture of yourself gets you the desired outcome. But there are other times when it's just unsuitable and unattractive. If you think about in dealing with clients, your clients want to know that you're choosing to work with somebody who knows how to handle their business. So this is a message you'll need to send by self-promoting. You also want to be sure to use examples of your work as part of your pitch, not all about I'm all this great, but showing them the receipts. We're in a very visual society. We want to see some receipts about what you can do. So if you can provide an example of what you do or references, that goes a long way. And then avoid letting the client feel that they need you and only you. You're the only one that can solve their problem. Whenever I'm talking about a proposal or an opportunity to work with someone, I always say, look, there are a lot of great consultants out there, and I know several of them that I can recommend if this partnership does not work out for us. I'm always willing to put that out there because I don't want to be seen as the last result, but I want you to certainly feel confident in who I am and how I can help you or your business or your personal journey succeed. And then the last piece I want to talk about before we open it up to Q&A is just dealing with rejection. That's one of the reasons why people don't sell themselves. So as Misty opened up and she said, what would you do if you did not fear, or if you didn't have that fear that was holding you back? Oftentimes people don't build their brand or expand their brand, share their brand, is because they feel rejected. They feel the fear of rejection. So how do you successfully deal with being rejected? Realize that other opportunities exist. I don't worry about that. If someone says I'm not the right person for them, because I realized that could be a calling for me. I always say, okay, well, that's God's way of telling me that that situation was not going to go the way I planned, or it may have required me to spend more time, or they may have wanted me to do some things outside of the scope of services that we originally discussed. So you'll have other ideas to pitch to your company, other people to pitch to. A single rejection only means that you're participating in the world. And if you're not participating and offering yourself out there, selling yourself, your opportunities, then you're not doing anything. So there are plenty opportunities in the future, and you need to believe that. And many of them will be far better than the one that you did not get. I have a true belief that I'm not envious of anybody, because I truly believe that I have an ocean of blessings that when I was born, that had my name on it, that no one can dip out of that ocean but me. All of my blessings are stored there. And so when I go and I dip from my ocean of blessings, where some people may dip with a teaspoon, or some people may dip with a teacup, or I go and dip with a bucket, because I want all of those blessings that are in store for me, that have been put there just for me. You know, people would say, I'm not fighting over the slice of pie. I think a pie is pretty small, and we all have our own pie in the sky. We're not fighting over pieces of those slices, but mine is an ocean, because the ocean is a lot bigger, and I still have a lot more blessings in that ocean that I'm not tapped into. So I hope you can use that same analogy when you think about how you've been rejected from others, but learn from that rejection. Was there something that I could do better? I always think about that. Could I have presented myself better? Could I have been clearer on what I wanted to share? If you can learn one small thing from that negative experience, then you'll have far fewer of them in the future. Just accept that a certain amount of rejection is part of any endeavor. So if you're going to fear being rejected or let down, or someone not valuing your brand or want to be a brand ambassador, then you got a long thing coming. So you also need to avoid automatically assuming that the reason for the rejection is related to you. I've heard some people say, well, oh, they just wanted, they pick somebody that they like, and that's her friend, and that's her sorority sister, or they were just being biased for me because I'm a woman in this field, and this is a field that's dominated by men, or they didn't select me because I've got a disability, or, you know, I'm Black, or I'm young, and I'm, you know, they didn't want someone young to do all of those issues. Some of them may be true, and I've actually heard of some of them being true. But my advice to you is don't get caught up in that, because even when I felt that someone did not want to do business with me, and it was a bit of discriminatory bias and favoritism all blended into one, I counted that as a blessing for me, because I didn't want that negative energy around me anyway. So count it as a blessing. And remember that each rejection is bringing you closer to success. So how can you fail if you avoid quitting, or if you decide to quit? You know, keep at it, and you'll eventually find the success that you're seeking. And then salespeople are trained to believe that every no is another step closer to a yes. And so part of your personality is knowing how to be persistent in those things that are important to you. Remember, everybody deals with rejection. The most successful people get rejected the most because they're trying to do things the most. They just do a better job of forging ahead than those with average results. So if you're going to sell yourself, if you're going to build your brand, know that it will be rejected by some, but that's okay. As long as you're putting it forth the right way, enough people will know about it. So you got to monitor your self-talk, keep your thoughts positive and upbeat. Don't get in that, oh, woe is me, I can't do this. Say good things to yourself, and good things will happen. I believe in affirmations. And before I go into any opportunity, I state certain affirmations. And then when I leave that opportunity, I restate those affirmations as well, because what's for me is for me. Then treat yourself well. I often reward myself. If I didn't get it, that's fine. I count that as a blessing. And if I did get it, I usually go and buy some type of artwork or take a nice trip somewhere. So learn how to deal with rejection. All right, that is it that I have for y'all. Listen, building your brand and selling yourself is a journey. It is not easy, but every step on this bridge is a way to success, and you will achieve success every step along the way. My success may not look like yours, but as long as you're putting in the work, you're going to get there. I promise you from my own personal experience. Just do it. It will come. If you put in the work, it will come. It will come. So write a letter to yourself as we get ready to close and do some Q&A. Thanks for all the lessons. and then say, dear future, I am ready to brand and sell myself to success. All right, give me some applause, please. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, before we unmute and do anything, the lucky number. So Tamika, I'm gonna need your help with this. I don't have chat pulled up just yet, but the lucky numbers, if anybody joined in late, wanna put in a number real quick between 1 and 100, go ahead and do that. You got 3 seconds, 3, 2, 1. Got some people putting in here, I see some things going. All right. And the lucky number is, it's gonna stop right now. The lucky number is 68. The lucky number is 68. So whoever had 68 or close to 68 will receive a DISC assessment and
without going over.
No, they could, whatever number was close. This is not let's make a deal, but or is it what's the other game show where you go over it, whatever it's closest. So if they had 70 and somebody else had 63, then 70 would be the closer number.
Okay, I have from what I can see, a 59. And then the next one would be 75, which went over. Those are the 2 closest ones.
A 69 and a 75?
No, 59.
59.
And then a 75, that's right in the middle.
Look, we need to do some calculations on that. So that's all right. So listen, if they're close enough, we may do both of them. So I'll definitely, so both of them, when you email me the 60, 50, the 59 and 75, I'm going to get you to email me. I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. And actually it's going to be here as well. So we're going to get to some Q&A and answer some questions for you. But for those of you, here's my contact information. It'll also be on the material that I'll send you, and I'm going to drop that in the box as soon as I stop sharing so that you can access the ebook that has a lot of what we covered here, as well as a summary of the slides that were shared, and then also a sample of the DISC assessment. So I have thoroughly enjoyed this. It looks like I've got enough time. We've got at least 5 or 6 minutes for some Q&A. So I love to do that.
Thank you so much, Melva. Yes.
All right, so you guys can unmute and ask those questions if you have any. Hey, Danielle, love to see. Good to see you. See so many familiar faces.
Great to see you. Great presentation, as always.
Thank you. All right, any questions, comments, or concerns? And if not, if I can get 2 or 3 people to tell me one piece that resonated most with them. What particular area? Was it the dealing with rejection, or the networking, or the net weaving versus networking, or the online identity? Talk back to me, y'all. Danielle, I'll pick you since you just said hello. With your O-ring back there, I see you got all your setup back there.
I know. I always love the self-rejection when you talk about that. It's just kind of so easy to feel defeated if things don't go, in the way you had hoped. So that's always good just to have those affirmations and the positive talk that you talk about. So that's always just good to have in your back pocket. So,
have you dealt with an experience like that, a similar experience of being rejected?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
What are those emotions tied to?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think just as human, we kind of want to take it personal, but it's not, it's just not rejecting you personally. It's just what you have to offer at that particular moment. And it's, sometimes those things have come back around for me. But for whatever reason, it just maybe was the timing or, whatever. So yeah, just not taking it personally. Having a little backbone.
Gotcha. Good. Thank you for sharing that. Justina, can you unmute and share? I know some people are working and driving and everything else.
Hey, Melvia.
Hey.
Hey. I really enjoyed learning about the DISC assessment, which I'm going to dig into further, and how others view you. That really opened my eyes up to how people can see you and how you relate to people and how they relate to you. And I know I am more of an introvert and more reserved, and so that can come off sometimes a lot different to others than, they perceive me a little bit differently. So I'm going to definitely work on that.
Awesome, awesome. Well, great. And I failed to mention that Justina is part of that team that I support, or that supports me. She's a fabulous makeup artist in addition to multiple other talents. But yeah, she's just definitely on point and a great person to know. So thank you for sharing that, Justina.
Melva, we have something from Constance Folsom. She said you talked about having branding ambassadors and allowing others to help carry your brand. Do you have any advice when others bring your brand down with negative opinions or gossip or sabotaging?
Yeah. So I think, thank you, Constance. I think you need to control the message. So how do you control the message? By getting ahead of those negative comments, knowing that they're probably going to come, because they're going to be some haters out there. I hate to use this overused term, but let your haters be your motivators. There will be people who will look to try to put you down because they're not at that level, or they perceive you as doing a lot more, or even be in competition to them. So if you already have positive messages out there, or positive image out there, when someone tries to come with that negativity, you can have enough people that circle around you, to circle the wagons and say, no, I know her for this, or I know her for that. And then I also would say, going back to that rejection point, don't let it bother you, because I automatically anticipate that there's going to be somebody doesn't like me, somebody doesn't like my speaking style, the tone of my voice, my delivery. They're always, it's just amazing. If you all could go, I do a lot of shopping on Amazon, and I always read the reviews before I purchase something. It just amazed me that there's going to always be somebody that says something negative. It never fails. You can have 90 people say they love this product, and then somebody will say, well, I hate the fact that the box didn't have enough color, or the instructions, or something. Someone will, that is their purpose in life, is to be negative. I'm just blessed that it's not my purpose, because there are people out there who sole purpose is to spread negativity. I just block them from coming my way. So just keep doing what you're doing, be optimistic, get more people on your brand wagon, not bandwagon, but brand wagon, who can help share who you are and how you serve. And I think you have more positive than negatives. I hope that helped. And if you want, Constance, if you want to, part of that information that I'll send you has my www.askmelva.com scheduler on there. If you want to do just a quick 15-minute chat, free of charge, just call me and schedule time, and we can talk about some of your specific issues. Thanks. All right. Got time for one or two more?
Anyone else? I'm monitoring the chat. I don't see anything else.
And I did drop the free chat, the free resources in there. So if you just go to freegift@melvatate.com, that's freegift@melvatate.com. The auto reply will have the link for you to download that information that I talked about, the ebook, the summary of this presentation, and a sample disc report.
And just so everyone on the call will know, Melva, along with the other presenters for the rest of the seminars, will be giving away takeaways from within their companies, something that you can utilize and use immediately within your business that comes from them as part of this professional development series. So that's why she's giving you that email address and that link with all the information, the slides and everything from today, so that you can go back and reference that, and the consultation also that she's going to be awarding. So again, thank you so much, Melva.
Thank you. And I just dropped for number 59 and 75. If you had 59 or 75, you could just email me directly at melva@melvatate.com, and then I can give you the info that you need for the your prize that you won. Who won? Do I know? Did you know? Look at Danielle.
I thought that was Danielle. I did. I thought that was
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Who else won?
59. I'm not sure who 59 is.
Okay.
I had 59, Tamika.
Okay, 75 then.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll figure it out.
Courtney, do you have your hand raised?
Yes, I just wanted to say that I really liked your net weaving technique versus networking. I thought that was really neat and creative. a really good way to think about it, because we do want to connect other people with other people and think about what's in it for them versus just what's in it for us. So I just
Good.
wanted to, yeah, say thank you for sharing that with us.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm gonna expect you to use that. Go in it with the with them effect. What's in it for me, for them? Yeah. So,
Right, right. And then I'm gonna have to email you because I want to get some more information about the brand ambassadors you were talking about.
okay, good, good. Awesome.
Okay, Melva, 75 was Madison Ernest.
Yeah, I saw Madison politely put that in there. It's
She
me,
put,
y'all. I'm
"Here
trying
I
to get
am."
this away. Yeah, I am. So, I got you, Madison. Great. Good deal. Good deal. All right, Miss Scott, thank you so much for this opportunity. I really appreciate it to work with you all. This has been fabulous. I will plan to attend the other workshops that you all have prepared. Again, part of building your brand and learning it, or expanding is to continue to learn. So anytime we have an opportunity to do this, I think it's a great way to connect with others. And I've got two new friends here and a couple of more that I'll be connected with. So thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Melba. We really, really appreciate your presentation. And I mean, I've learned so much. And you reminded me of some of the things I forgot. So
What was one of those things,
the
Demetria?
value proposition and being versatile.
Mhm, mhm.
Those are
Good,
the
good,
two.
good
And
deal.
thank you for reminding me.
Good, good. Thank you.
And I would like for someone other than myself to give a response as well and let Melvin know how you enjoyed her presentation. Would someone like to speak up or
And while you all are unmuted, Misty, just send me your fee for those introductions because we got a tour to go on. I really enjoyed that.
Sure thing,
um,
Melva. And
Doc-
I'd say that I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation today and gained some insights. And one thing that really resonated with me is that in this digital age that we live in, you spoke about how your online representation of yourself really has more impact because it reaches more people. And sometimes we
Right.
forget that. You know, we're so consumed with, you know, the clothes we're putting on, the look we have for that day, and you know how we sound on that day. But in reality, we can have an impact on people any time of any day when they Google our name and do a search. So that really resonated with me, and I'm really thinking about that and how our impact goes so beyond our presence physically.
Mhm.
So.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Misty. Would anyone else like to share?
I would. I would like to thank Melville for the presentation. Thank you for the nuggets, and thank you so much for being my brand ambassador for all of these years. And that being said, let's give away a headshot to someone in the room.
Oh, like that. Good deal. How you gonna give it away?
However you want to do it.
Okay.
Ms. Brown, Shawana Brown said me. I don't have one.
Okay. Okay.
Look, everybody
Let's
talking
give
about
it to
that.
Shawana Brown.
You
Courtney
started
Wood said
something.
me too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So Shawana Brown was the first to reply. We'll give it to Shawana Brown.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Gotcha.
you.
And Bob, can you,
Congratulations.
if you're gonna do any other discount or anything else or a package deal that you normally do for sessions, if you could drop that in the chat box, that may help some others as well.
Okay.
But thank you for doing that.
You're
And
welcome.
congratulations, Shawana. All right, Tamika, we about to get away from your agenda and your schedule doing all kind of stuff. So
Oh, no, you guys are great. You're great. Fine. Thank you again so much.
good deal.
Well, you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity. See you all on the
Thank you,
next one.
Melva.